Alex stood in front of dormitory gate number 13, hand gripping the old suitcase. The building in front of him bore an ancient appearance, with walls covered in moss and dark windows, like deep hollow sockets. The twilight light shone, casting ominous long shadows, making Alex feel a cold breath run down his spine. Stepping into the main lobby, Alex immediately felt the heavy and gloomy atmosphere, the wind whistling through the old door cracks, crying out strange sounds, making him think of mysterious whispers. He suddenly heard the sound of strange footsteps echoing from afar, but when he looked around there was no one. "Hello, you are Alex, right?" A voice rang out from behind. Alex turned around and saw a boy about his age. Dark hair, bright eyes, wearing a gray coat. "Yeah, I'm Alex, and you are?" Alex asked, trying to stay calm. "I'm Jake, second-year student who also lives here. I'll take you up to your room. This dormitory is a bit old, but you'll get used to it." Jake smiled lightly, but his smile did not make Alex feel any more comfortable. Jake led Alex through long and dark corridors, lit only by dim lamps hanging from the ceiling. The smell of deadness and a little something metallic and bloody, lingering in the air, making Alex have to force down a feeling of nausea. "You know, there are a lot of rumors about this building. Many people say it is haunted," Jake suddenly said when they stopped in front of room number 13. "Haunted? What do you mean?" Alex asked curiously, trying to hide his worry. Jack looked around as if afraid someone was listening. "About 15 before there was a serial killer here. He killed many students before disappearing, without leaving a trace. People say he is still somewhere in this building, or his spirit is haunting the building." Alex felt a cold shiver along his spine blur, but he tried to appear calm. "You're joking, right? I don't believe in these ghost things." Jake only smiled lightly. "Just consider it a story for entertainment. But if you hear strange noises at night, don't be too frightened." After Jake left, Alex began arranging his belongings. The room was small and simple with bed, a study desk, and a wardrobe. On the wall were strange drawings, figures who were screaming, red eyes staring at him. He wondered whether a previous student had drawn them. That night, when Alex had just lain down on the bed, he heard strange footsteps in the corridor outside. Heavy footsteps, slow as if someone was intentionally trying to walk very lightly, but could not hide their presence. Alex tensely listened, but then the footsteps disappeared. He tried to sleep, but his mind could not stop thinking about what Jake had said. The story of the killer, the strange drawings, and the eerie footsteps. Alex wondered whether he had stepped into a place full of secrets and danger. The next morning when Alex woke up, he saw a new drawing on the wall. It was an image of a man with fiery red eyes, and holding a cross. That man stared straight at Alex, as if he wanted to say something. Alex's heart beat fast. He did not understand why that drawing was there, and who had drawn it in the night. He decided he would learn about the dormitory, and the secrets that were hidden. But the more he investigated, the more he realized he had stepped into a hell, with no way out. The footsteps, strange drawings, and the story of the serial killer were only the beginning of the horrific things that Alex would have to face. Alex had not yet become familiar with the new life when a horrific event happened. One early morning when he had just gotten out of bed, a roommate of his, Tom, was found dead in the bathroom. The police quickly arrived, and after a short investigation, they concluded it was a suicide. Tom was said to have slit his wrists with a box cutter, but Alex did not believe that conclusion. Tom was a cheerful person, with no signs of despair, or any reason to kill himself. Moreover, the scene that Alex saw made him unable to accept this. Blood was splattered everywhere, but on the mirror there was a line written in blood. "Don't believe what they say. Alex decided to begin investigating Tom's death. He started by searching for clues. In Tom's room, he discovered a diary, in which Tom recorded the strange things that happened in the dormitory. Strange noises at night, dark shadows gliding past the windows, and horrific dreams about a masked killer. In one diary page Tom wrote, "I know someone is following me. He wears a white mask, hand holding a box cutter. I don't know who he is, but I feel his presence every night." Alex shuddered when reading these lines. He remembered sleepless nights, the strange footsteps and the weird drawings. Perhaps Tom was right. Someone or something was haunting the dormitory. That night Alex could not sleep. He lay on the bed, eyes wide open listening to every sound around. Suddenly, he heard slow footsteps in the corridor outside, the footsteps coming closer, as if someone was walking toward his room. Alex held his breath, heart pounding boisterously in his chest. The door creaked open, but there was no one. Alex tried to look out into the corridor, but saw only darkness and dim lamps. He went back to the bed trying to calm himself, but in his mind, the image of the masked killer and the box cutter kept haunting him. Every night horrific nightmares began to appear. In the dream, Alex saw himself being chased by a person wearing a white mask, hand holding the box cutter. That person laughed savagely, red eyes blazing in the dark. Alex ran, but could not escape him. He awoke drenched in sweat and with a racing heart. The nightmares and strange events made Alex increasingly panic. He knew he had to find the truth about Tom's death, and what was haunting the dormitory. But the more he investigated, the more he realized the truth might be more horrific than he imagined. With determination to find the truth, Alex spent the whole day in the dormitory library, searching for any information related to the history of this ancient building. After many hours of struggling, he found an old journal hidden carefully in a dusty corner of a bookshelf. The journal was old, its pages yellowed, but the lines inside were still legible. The journal belonged to a student who once lived in this dormitory many years ago. The first pages recorded daily life, stories of friends and studies, but then the journal shifted to gruesome descriptions of horrific murders that occurred in the dormitory. Page by page, the killings were described in detail, each victim listed with deaths, full of haunting. One passage in the journal made Alex shudder. On November 23, 1975, another murder. A female student was killed in her room. The killer left a letter in blood on the wall. He would not stop. The police found no clues, and fear spread throughout the dormitory. Alex continued reading, and he discovered information about a serial killer who had once rampaged in the dormitory many years earlier. The killer was described as a man wearing a white mask, often carrying a box cutter. He had murdered many students, leaving at the scene letters made of blood and strange symbols. Another passage in the journal read, 1511 1.975. The police arrested the suspect, but there was not enough evidence to convict him. The murders continued, and the killer's curse seemed to keep haunting the dormitory. There are rumors that he performed an evil ritual to maintain his presence, even after death. Alex felt a chill when reading these lines. He realized that what he and Tom had experienced might be related to the killer's curse. He remembered the horrific dreams, the strange footsteps, and the image of the masked figure holding the box cutter. He decided to learn more about the killer and this curse. Alex went to the final pages of the journal, where the author's notes about how to confront the curse were recorded, but the pages there had been torn away, leaving only a short passage. If someone reads these lines, know that there is only one way to end the curse. Find. The passage was cut off. and Alex could not know the answer. He knew he had to continue this investigation, had to find a way to end the curse before it was too late. But he also knew that the road ahead would be full of danger and haunting. After reading the journal, Alex could not dispel thoughts of the killer and that horrific curse. He felt dormitory number 13 grow heavier, as if an invisible veil of fear covered everything. At night, when the dim lights gradually went out, Alex began to see wandering ghosts in the dormitory, dark shadows flickering in and out, gliding through the corridors, threading into rooms, light footsteps like sighs, echoing in the dark. One night, when Alex stepped out of his room to get water, he suddenly saw a hazy figure at the end of the corridor. It was a vague and quiet human-shaped shadow, as if searching for something. Alex knew he could not continue to run from fear. He decided to face these strange phenomena and find a way to contact the restless spirits, to find the truth. He sought a classmate specializing in supernatural phenomena named Lisa, who had previously helped him with spiritual matters. Lisa agreed to help Alex, and they began to plan to contact the spirits. They prepared a simple seance with white candles, fragrant incense, and a Ouija table. That night they gathered in an empty room in the dormitory, a place where a horrific murder had once occurred. Lisa whispered softly, "Let us call the spirits and ask them about the killer. I hope they will give us clues." Alex and Lisa sat around the Ouija board, closed their eyes and focused. They began calling the spirits, hoping that someone would listen. First nothing happened, but then a cold wind blew through the room, making the candles flicker. The Ouija table began to tremble slightly, and a faint voice echoed from afar. "We are trapped here. You will not let go." Alex asked, "Who is here? Please tell us about the killer. Why does he kill?" The voice became clearer. "He is a wicked person. He performed evil rituals to maintain his presence. He wants our souls to serve him forever." Lisa asked further, "How can we end this curse?" The voice replied, but only in disjointed whispers, Find the curse." The seance ended abruptly when a ghost appeared before Alex and Lisa, his face distorted by horror and pain. The ghost raised a hand pointing toward the window, where a strange sigil was carved into the glass. Alex and Lisa realized they had found an important clue. The symbol on the window might be related to the evil ritual that the killer had performed. They knew there was still much to do, and many dangers waiting. But Alex was determined not to give up. They had to find a way to end the curse and free the wrong souls who were trapped in dormitory number 13. Alex and Lisa did not stop researching the strange sigil that they had found. They found some ancient documents and books about evil rituals in the school's old library. All led them to an ancient ritual related to sacrificing souls to prolong the lifespan and power of the killer. One night, when Alex was returning to his room after a late class, he accidentally heard strange footsteps and ragged whispers. He realized something was wrong and immediately slipped into a dark corner, trying to follow without being detected. In the dim corridor light, Alex saw a tall dark figure wearing a grotesque mask. The killer. Alex's heart pounded noisily. He felt fear, but also knew that this was the chance to confront and learn more about this evil one. Unfortunately, the killer discovered Alex's presence. He turned, the eyes behind the mask flashing, a fiery red light as if to pierce the mind of Alex. Without any hesitation, he lunged at Alex, a sharp knife in his hand. Alex quickly turned and ran. The pounding footsteps echoed through the corridors, and the chase began. Alex's breath became short, but he did not dare stop, did not dare look back. He knew that just 1 second slow, and his life could be taken. Alex rushed into a fire escape, but he slipped and fell down the steps. In pain and panic he tried to stand, but the killer was closer than ever. Alex felt the hot breath of the killer on his neck. Savage laughter echoing in the narrow space. In a second of despair, Alex saw a door leading into a storage room. He quickly opened it and slipped inside, locking it from within. The frenzied pounding on the door from the killer rang outside. But Alex knew that this door could not keep him safe forever. Blood flowed from his wound, but Alex tried to stay calm. He found an old wooden broom and prepared himself to face the killer if he broke through. Luckily, after a while the pounding stopped and silence fell. Alex listened, trying to detect any sound, but all there was an ominous, terrifying quiet. He opened the door cautiously, stepped out, and ran straight to Lisa's room. He knew he could not face the killer alone. When he arrived, Lisa was shocked to see Alex's condition. He recounted everything, from the horrific chase to the escape by a hair's breadth. Lisa helped Alex dress his wound, and they decided they had to plan more carefully. Alex knew he had been lucky to survive, but he also realized the killer would not stop. He would continue haunting dormitory number 13, and Alex had to find a way to stop him before it was too late. After recovering from his wound, Alex and Lisa began to delve deeper into investigating the hidden secrets. In dormitory number 13, they decided to comb the old materials in the school library and uncovered a portion of dark history that no one had ever known. One afternoon, while researching in a dusty room, in a hidden corner of the library, Lisa found an old notebook with a torn leather cover. Inside the yellowed pages, recorded in detail evil rituals, mysterious disappearances, and the names of many students who had lived in dormitory number 13. Alex and Lisa realized that these murders were not random. They continued searching and finally discovered another document, a journal of a student who had lived in the dormitory many years earlier. The journal told of a secret organization operating in the university called the Dark Society. This organization performed dark rituals, using the lives of students for sacrifices to obtain power and immortality. Alex and Lisa were shocked to realize that the killer was not only a psychopathic criminal, but also a part of the Dark Society. He was the one who carried out the sacrificial rituals to maintain his power and extend his lifespan. The horrific murders he committed were a part of this evil ritual. They also discovered that the killer had once been an excellent student at the university, but after joining the Dark Society, he was drawn into the dark rituals and became the haunting of dormitory number 13. Even more horrific was that the Dark Society was still operating in the school, and there might be other members hidden in the shadows. Alex and Lisa decided they had to bring this truth into the light. They knew that only this way could they stop the next murders and free dormitory number 13 from the horrific curse. They began planning to gather evidence and contact the police, but Alex could not help worrying that the Dark Society would learn of their investigation and try to silence them. The battle between light and shadow seemed only to have begun. With determination and courage, Alex and Lisa were ready to face danger, to protect their friends, and expose the criminal organization hiding within the ancient school. Alex and Lisa knew that to destroy the killer and end the chain of crimes, they could not rely only on themselves. They needed help from trustworthy friends. They decided to approach a close group in the dormitory: Tom, an engineering student with inventive talent; Sarah, a psychology student with deep knowledge of mental disorders; and Mike, a sports student with superior strength and agility. After discussing and sharing all the information they had gathered, the group realized that they needed a detailed and perfect plan to face the killer. Alex, Lisa, Tom, Sarah and Mike gathered in a safe room to draw up a meticulous plan. Plan 1. Determine the location of the killer. Tom used his technical skills to hack into the dormitory's security system, monitor the cameras, and detect the killer's traces. They noticed he often appeared near the underground cellar, beneath the dormitory at night. 2. Lure the killer out of hiding. Sarah suggested using psychology to deceive the killer. They decided to create a fake scene, making him think there was a new sacrificial ritual taking place at another location in the dormitory. 3. Prepare the trap. Mike and Tom prepared a complex mechanical trap to capture the killer. When he appeared, they used available materials and designed a trap capable of holding the killer tight so that he could not escape. 4. Assign tasks. Alex and Lisa would draw the killer out of hiding, while Tom and Mike would stay near the trap to trigger it. When necessary, Sarah would observe and provide psychological support when everything became tense. That night, Alex and Lisa began executing their plan. They arranged fake props for the sacrificial ritual. In an abandoned room in the dormitory, they played eerie background music and set dim lights, creating a chilling atmosphere to lure the killer. When the clock struck midnight, heavy footsteps echoed in the empty corridor. The killer appeared, drawn to the fake scene. Alex and Lisa hid in the shadows, holding their breath and waiting. When he came near, they began to retreat, leading him into the room with the trap. As the killer stepped into the room, Tom and Mike quickly triggered the trap. A series of iron chains and hard mechanisms suddenly lunged out, holding the killer fast in an immobile posture. He growled and struggled, but could not escape the group's perfect trap. Alex stepped forward, eyes determined, no trace of fear left. At last we have captured you, he said in a cold voice. The killer only laughed insanely, his eyes flashing a malicious gleam. You think you can stop me? I am only a small part of a greater darkness that you will never understand. But the group did not let those words shake their resolve. They were ready to move to the next stage of the plan, ready to face the remaining mysteries and dangers. In dormitory number 13, the killer was imprisoned in the trap, but the group knew this was not the end. His darkness and menace still shrouded the dormitory, and they needed to utterly annihilate him to end the chain of crimes. The final battle, when the killer was held tight, he suddenly laughed loudly, the sound echoing through the room. You think you can stop me with this trap? Alone, you are too naive. Suddenly a black smoke spread from his body, snuffing out every light and creating a dense fog that plunged the entire room into darkness. He broke the trap and lunged to attack Alex and his friends. Mike, with his courage, charged and tried to hold the killer, but he was thrown away, slammed into the wall and knocked out. Sarah tried to use her psychological knowledge to influence the killer, but he did not heed a single word. Tom was also badly injured while trying to protect Alex. In the end, only Alex and Lisa stood before the killer. Alex looked around and saw that his friends had fallen, his heart filled with hatred and determination. You will never win, he said, voice firm. Lisa stepped forward, knowing she might not survive. Alex, remember why we fight. We must end this for those who are lost, for those who live, she said. She rushed forward, using all her remaining strength to attack the killer, creating an opening for Alex to reach him. Alex looked at Lisa with gratitude and resolve. He knew this was the final chance. With strength and courage, Alex rushed forward with the knife he had found in the library. The knife, once used to kill the killer in the past. He plunged it straight into the killer's heart and shouted, "This is for all the people you harmed." The killer screamed, his body beginning to dissolve into black smoke, each piece gradually vanishing into the air. Alex stood there watching the killer vanish before his eyes, feeling the weight of crimes dissipate. When everything returned to normal, Alex knelt beside Lisa, who was dying. "Lisa, we did it," he said, tears running down his cheeks. Lisa smiled faintly. "Live well, Alex. For all of us," she said before her last breath. Alex sat there holding Lisa's hand tight, feeling the loss and the pain, but he knew they had fought and won. Dormitory number 13 had been freed from the darkness, and the killer was finally defeated. The horrific screams and bloody scenes of dormitory number 13 gradually faded. Alex sat beside friends who had sacrificed themselves, his heart flooded with pain and loss. The aftermath the next day, the police arrived and carried out a cleansing of the entire dormitory. The bloodstains, the horrific traces of last night's battle, were all cleaned. The police gathered the remaining evidence and confirmed that the killer indeed had been eliminated. Alex and the surviving friends had to face the horrific hauntings of the past. Every night he still heard the screams and felt the fear. The horrific dreams about the killer still haunted him, but he knew they had done the right thing and had saved others from the killer's cruelty. The message, though they endured much loss and pain, Alex and his friends learned precious lessons about courage, friendship, and sacrifice. They realized that in the darkest darkness, there is always a light of hope and resilience. When dormitory number 13 was cleansed, it was not only the erasure of bloodstains and the killer's traces, but also the purification of the hauntings and the darkness. New students would arrive, bringing with them hope and a brighter future. Alex stood in front of the dormitory door, looking up at the clear blue sky. He closed his eyes and silently vowed, "We have done it. For those who have sacrificed, we will continue to live and fight. Goodness and courage will always triumph over cruelty." The story ends with a message about good and evil, courage and sacrifice, as a reminder that even in the deepest darkness, people still always find light and hope.